Hey there, comic book fans. I am back from the comic shop this week, and I got Image Plus magazine and 5 new comics. Image Plus has the I think it's 4-page Walking Dead story in it. I have to say, I didn't read the last issue of Image Plus till today for some reason. It's just sat around. But this is a pretty good little anthology book. It's got it has, little interviews with stuff, but it's got like 4 or 5-page previews of upcoming stuff. And then it had like an 8 or 10-page preview of one thing in the back. I don't even remember what it was. So it's like it's almost like getting an anthology book for $2. So I have to say, I really, when I finally sat down and read it this morning, I really enjoyed reading the last issue of Image Plus. Even if I don't buy any of the comic books they're previewing, it's still fun to read all the different preview stories. It's usually just, like I said, 4 or 5 pages of any random comic book that's coming out. But I have to say, there's a pretty good little magazine here. Image Plus. What is this? Issue number 8. Next, we have Saga. Wow, issue number 40. Seems like Saga just started. Seems like Saga's been around forever. You know how time is. Story continues. What happened last issue? I don't remember. Something about our family. There's something sneaky going on with these little creatures here. They seem to be sweet and innocent, but one of the crew is suspecting them of not being as sweet and innocent as they seem. And there was some sort of weird interspecies kiss between those two there. I wasn't quite sure. It was like a little girl kissing her teddy bear, so it was a strange thing. But anyways, if you haven't jumped on Saga by now, I don't know why. It's a good comic. It's a steady Freddy comic. It's been there for 40 issues, and they're all pretty good. So give it a look. And now we have issue 8 of Monstrous. This is the second issue back since its hiatus. Ooh, scary eye monster. And I've enjoyed this book. Let's see, last issue, our main character, the girl who's got some sort of monster living inside her in this world that could upset the balance of powers between humans and these animal-like creatures, is going on a sea voyage. The first story arc was all about her journey to this, I guess she was just running away, mostly. Well, she ended up at this old city where I think her mother used to live. And she lived as a little girl, but she doesn't remember it much. And she met she hooked up with an old sea captain who used to work for her mother. Got this giant fleet of ships. So she's going to some secret mystery island now. Monstrous is a good book. The lush art with all its details is part of the whole storytelling. There's just lots of little tiny lines in there describing the world, so it's not drawn like a lot of books. It's got its own touch there, its own look. So that's more part of the things I appreciate about it. And as you can see, it's got lots of little decorative elements in the art too, just kind of little flourishes and eyeballs and things everywhere. But Monstrous has been good. Check this one out. And here we go with another issue of Deadly Class, issue number 24 in 1988. Looks like a face-off between our big Russian sophomore and our incoming freshman guy. This has just been, it's been an excellent book from start to finish. This has been one of my favorites the entire time, and it's also one of the books I never expected to like because I thought the concept was so dumb. High school for assassins. I still think the concept is dumb, but hey, the execution is brilliant. And I really like Wes Craig's art. He just is such a good storyteller. He does such interesting things with his layouts and his panels, and he does possibly the best chase scenes I've ever seen in comics, whether it's people running and chasing each other or car chases. They're just, usually chase scenes in comics I find not very strong. They don't often have them. But his chase scenes are just wow. And it's just we're getting to know this incoming freshman class, and We know some of them are probably doomed, but we don't know for sure. And it's just real interesting stuff. If you've never tried Deadly Class, go dig up some trades or hardcovers or whatever you got to and give it a read. And here we go, Cerebus and Hell, issue number 0, 1977, 2017. I missed the final order cutoff on this, but they got me a reorder of it. This is I think these are printed on the web. This is a web comic too. So I guess that's it's a kind of I guess it's I don't even know what the story is. I haven't read the web comic, but it's mostly done via cut and paste. I think because Dave Sim has had nerve issues in his hands and can't draw anymore. So I think I saw he's got a weekly YouTube video. Go to his Dave Sim channel, and he talks to you and tells you about Cerebus and what's going on with it. And I think he cuts and pastes this stuff out himself, and then gives it to a friend of his who scans it in and touches it up in Photoshop. So I think it's just one-page strips. So I'm sure it doesn't have the in-depth themes of the original Cerebus, but jonesing for some more Dave Simmons, some more Cerebus. And I guess there'll be more in 2017. Since this is number 0, then the series will actually start. But if you look up Cerebus and Hell on the web, if you want to check it out, or go track down issue number 0, either way, get yourself some Cerebus. My final issue of the week was just an impulse buy. It's Savage number 1. Who's done this? Clayton Moore, Clayton Henry, Louis LaRosa, Brian Reber. I wasn't planning on buying this one. I saw it on the shelf, and I think it's a 4-issue mini. But I like this prestige format that Valiant does. It had some nice artwork. It looks a little bit like Turok Dinosaur Hunter Boy. Can't say I like that logo much. The painting is nice. Like I said, it's $3.99, which is the same as their regular books that don't have this cover on it. I don't know what it's about. I think I read a preview. I read a paragraph of what it was about and wasn't interested. But then when I actually saw the book, I flipped it open and liked some of the art. And there was only a few books on my regular pull this week, so I was like, you know what? I can get Savage number 1. I can give it a read. So that's what I did. Savage number 1. Oh, and here's something I wanted to show you just because I found them this week from back in my Marvel days. It's a Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters class ring. Established 1963, class of 1994. These came out in 1994. They gave them away to us at Marvel. I'm assuming they were sold or given away somewhere. I never have really seen them. This one actually fits me. But if anyone is a size 7 or 8 ring, let me know, because these are 2 more pewter class rings. They're way too small for me. They must be women's rings, because I think my ring size is a 10 or 11, and this one fits me, and 7 and 8 barely fit my pinky. But if anyone's interested in a class ring, let me know. And finally, we'll give a little look at some of my background art. These are just pencil drawings from, 10 years ago or so. I decided to dig out some old stuff. I think I used this in a panel for some comic I was working on. Just some guys standing around, dressed in similar outfits. Okay, that's interesting. Weird. And this was a drawing for one of my paintings. I went through a little stage there when I was painting cats. This is the drawing for it. Infinity Cat. Yeah, the cats all had symbols on their heads. So there's just a little pencil drawing for that. And this is a pencil. I used this one on one of my faux comic book covers. Ooh, I can't remember which one. I can picture the finished cover, but I kind of drew the individual figures separately at first, and then redrew them again on the finished cover. So that's a prelim drawing for that Fire Maiden of Venus or something. One of my science fiction covers. And this is, let's see if you recognize this. For some reason, I got it in my head, my deadly steel hand will make sure the last thing they see is my dragon tattoo. One day, a few years ago, I got Dr. Steel. This is from the Jack Kirby drawn ad that was in a lot of Marvel comics in the 70s for Big Jim and his pack. For some reason, I always loved this Dr. Steel drawing. So I just kind of traced it, redrew it, and inked it. I was going to do something with it. I can't remember what. I have no tattoos, but I always said, for some reason, if I ever to get a tattoo, I'd want a tattoo of Dr. Steel, saying that exact line. But if this ad has like Big Jim and like 3 members of his pack in it, all drawn by Jack Kirby. So find it in some 1970s Marvel comic and have yourself a good time looking at it. All right, you guys have a good week out there.